Hi, everyone. It's Noriko Yokoi. I'm back again for our unfiltered conversations all around SEO, AI search, and everything else related to search right now. And today I have with me Christa Toole. She is the founder and CEO of Reach Media Studio. It's a healthcare focused digital marketing consultancy specializing in AI findability, search, paid media, analytics, and performance marketing. She has more than 30 years of experience, and she's widely recognized for helping pharmaceutical, biotech, medical device, and healthcare organizations improve digital visibility and measurable business outcomes. And I'd like to underline business outcomes because that is what people are being sort of measured on. And this is what's really tricky right now. So we'll dive into that during the conversation. But prior to founding Reach Media Studio, Christa was a co-founder and partner at Greater Than One, now Real Chemistry, where she spent more than 2 decades leading search, social, analytics, and digital strategy for many of the world's leading healthcare and life sciences brands. Today, she advises organizations on navigating the evolving landscape of AI-powered search. And this is very loaded word, and a lot is being talked about right now. Generative engine optimization, or GEO, SEO, and digital media strategy, helping brands remain visible as search increasingly shifts towards AI-driven experiences. So, hi there, Christa.
Hello, nice to be here.
So great to have you. So, we only have 30 minutes. I'm going to dive right in, okay? What makes AI search visibility for pharmaceutical companies or, regulated companies within that space fundamentally different from other regulated, such as financial services or non-regulated industries? If you can sort of say it in very simple terms for those people who may not understand how regulated it is.
Well, in the pharma and biotech space, you can't really just add content whenever you want to. Everything has to go through many levels of approvals, including legal approvals. So it takes a while to get all of that content through. I've seen it be 6 months to sometimes a year, depending on how fast clients move. Um, we we try to get everything approved up front as much as possible, so planning ahead a long time in advance. But that's really the trickiest part, and that kind of shares the space with many other regulated industries, but it's really tough in the pharma space. So content does not change that frequently because of the amount of effort that is involved. So it's very important that all of that content is really thought about strategically with AI in mind now. So that's becoming really important.
Okay. We'll go into that a little bit further, but I mean, for those listeners who are listening and are not in regulated industries, I'm sure that they're going to be a little bit surprised that it could take over a year for something to be approved, since we now know that in the AI world, things have to be really recent, right? So it's very surprising.
Yeah, it's very tricky. So what I'm trying to do and with our clients is get as much approved ahead as possible. Try to get more modular
Mm.
content approved. So if we can shift things around and not have to go through as strict of an approval process the next time around,
Mm.
then things can get approved faster. We can change and shift focus, adjust to what we're seeing out there in the landscape faster.
For pharma client, where are the roadblocks? You mentioned something about legal, but what are all the things that make it, so long in terms of the approval process? Um, is it because it stays with the manager, like a marketing manager, or how many people touch it?
So everything has to be in line with what you can and can't say about a specific product or indication. It has to match exactly the indication because of the FDA. All of this is highly regulated. All claims have to be substantiated. So it's very, very important that whatever is out there, is approved by not only the marketing managers, everyone who's keeping an eye on the brand and what the brand needs to say and what the drug actually does, but also has to be approved by the legal departments, you know, within the company, and also submitted to the FDA for approval. So all of that takes an enormous amount of time and effort between many, many parties. And some of these parties understand what's going on in the digital space better than others. So, sometimes there's a fair amount of education involved with the different legal teams and brand managers as well.
When I think about pharma, and I've worked in pharma as well, there's a lot of product launches that happen. So, how do you approach something like AI search, which is really new for newly approved therapy that basically starts with a blank slate?
You always have to get everything approved in advance, ready to go. Spending a lot of time making sure everything is SEO and AI friendly as soon as it launches. So doing all that work, which can take, several months to longer, to make sure it happens. So once it's approved and ready to launch, everything is there.
Mhm.
And then you really have to, for AI in particular, think about the PR landscape. You really need those publications and journals and all of those other outside authoritative sources talking about you from day one. So really have to think about making sure that PR is incorporated into your overall plan, and that SEO and AI efforts are coordinated with those efforts as well. So it's really kind of a surround sound in order to get that AI visibility quickly.
Okay. So just everything has to be in lockstep. And you said PR a lot. Why is PR so important when it comes to AI search?
Well, the AI engines are going to look to all of the sources that are mentioning your brand, and really look at the authority, similarly to SEO, of those sources. So it's really important that you have those sources mentioning you, talking about you, pointing to you, so that AI knows that you're an authoritative source for that brand. So a lot of farmers can also uh, start to build their audience and their presence and their authority with disease awareness sites and efforts. So that really can help prime the environment. So you're kind of, an authority already in the space as a company. So when you launch the brand, you will have that, as a kind of an immediate step up. And then,
Mhm.
having all sorts of digital marketing in place also helps, maybe not directly, but indirectly. So it gets you that additional buzz and PR mentions in the space that'll really help you with SEO and AI visibility.
For those of you who don't know, what are things that you can actually say on the website and cannot say?
So from a pharma perspective, it really depends on the brand, but you can't say anything that's outside of the indication. So if your drug is approved for, diabetes type 1 in people that are 24 years old, you can only talk about that. You can't expand the indication. You can't claim that your drug basically does anything. So you can't say that you will definitely see an improvement, you have to word things in a specific way that it's like, this may help improve symptoms such as blah blah, and then you have to have all of this fair balance as well. So it's a very regulated space. You have to balance benefit and risk information. All of that has to be readily visible at all times. So, when you see those TV commercials and it tells you what the drug does, whenever you say what the drug does, you have to list all of the risks involved. So you get that huge spiel of what it can do to you as well. So.
Right. How many of your pharma clients are actually talking about AI search? Are they saying as part of, visibility, they're asking you to do both SEO and AI search? Is there automatically an ask when they come to you?
Yeah, I think AI is top of mind for any pharma out there. Pharmas have seen traffic decrease from organic search. So everyone stopped talking about organic search more or less, and it switched to AI. So all of the traditional SEO teams have incorporated or moved, most of them, not all, haven't moved into AI visibility. It's kind of 80% of what you would do for SEO, you would do for AI as well. So it's really important those basics are covered for both. But it is changing the landscape, and it's changing every day. So you need to keep on top of it, and it's like the days of early search when you didn't know if it was going to be Google, Yahoo, or web crawler, or whoever was going to win the race, and it ended up being Google. So could be again. We don't know. So
Well, you mentioned that there's very little sort of website visits happening, which is what we're hearing as well. For traditional sort of e-commerce companies or companies that really rely on the web for lead generation, I've heard lots of stories of how everyone is just wringing their hands saying, it's just so unpredictable. And now, we don't have any clients anymore, or the number of prospects have really decreased. And we've had a lot of painful conversations. Do you hear something very similar in the pharma landscape, or is it a little bit different since the actual purchase isn't done on the website, right? It's done in a doctor's office with a script being handed to the patients. I'm just wondering how all of this impacts the brands, but what sort of measures people are looking at, because these e-commerce stores have very real issues that they have to deal with.
So which question do I start with first? So on the pharma side, there's no purchase happening on the website. There's still going to be traffic to the website. It has decreased, but it hasn't gone away. It's still important in order to be there when somebody does look for information from your brand. And then, it's important also from an AI perspective. You need to have that content out there that's from your own company. You're the most authoritative source for your specific drug and brand. So that's very important as well. You probably will continue to be listed if somebody searches for your, or queries your brand in AI. So it's still very important. And I think getting leads, it's still possible. It's kind of shifted where those leads are happening. There's movement towards putting ads in AI, and ChatGPT has started, although I heard it's not doing that well so far, but we are trying it through Microsoft as well. So there's things happening, and there's traffic coming from AI engines as well. So it's all a little bit of a moving target right now, but there's still a lot happening out there, and ways to capture leads and sales. Obviously, they're still happening.
Right. But pharma companies are looking more for brand awareness, correct? Versus leads.
Yes. Yeah, brand awareness, looking for condition awareness.
There are a lot of social media posts around which platforms you should publish in, because they tend to crop up a lot in AI citations. And a couple of those that have come up quite a bit are Reddit, LinkedIn, and several others, right? And I'm just wondering, what happens in the pharma space? You'd mentioned publications, but you can't go to any of these publications, the platforms that I just mentioned, right?
Yeah, you definitely have to be careful how you play in those spaces. It can be done, but it has to be in a very, very limited fashion. So typically, um, you know, there's your company has a LinkedIn profile, so not a particular brand, right? Within Meta, you can set things up. They've allowed for, oops, sorry, my earbuds always fall out. So, that happens at least one time per meeting. So there we
go. He likes to hop around.
Yes. So where was I?
You're talking about Meta, with Meta.
Yeah, they've allowed for, kind of closing off the space so you can have a very limited brand presence, and that allows you to run ads, of course, but allows you to kind of shut down more of the interactive features. So, we may see more of that sort of thing happen in different platforms to kind of make allowances for regulated industries and having, presences that are official there.
Yeah, because I've noticed on Meta and Instagram, very few pharma companies have any postings, right? All you see are very legal focused statements, and there's very little postings of any kind, which doesn't make for any authority, I don't think.
Well, there can be corporate presences where there's a little bit more activity talking about culture and career opportunities and kind of the focus of the company and conditions they are active in. So you can kind of have that in a more general way.
As part of my conversations with the people who come on to this LinkedIn Live, we have unfiltered conversations where they sort of like tell us what's happening behind closed doors. So my question to you is, what are some of the things that SEO and geo specialists are talking about behind closed doors in terms of pharma?
Top of the list, I think for me, the first is getting pharma and biotech companies to implement things. As I mentioned, there's very long timelines, and it's hard to get in there and to really stress the importance. I think, there are a lot of people that understand AI is important, but then when you actually try to tell them you need to implement these things, it can be very hard to get that actually done. So that's been a challenge also with SEO for years and years. So it takes a very long time to get things implemented, and since there's so many people involved and teams involved with different objectives, it's hard to make sure all of it gets all the way through. So that's definitely a challenge, and that impacts the results. So you're getting held accountable for results when you're not able to implement everything that you need to. So that's a frustration. But then also with AI in particular, measurement is a problem. So everyone wants to know, like, is this work that's taking up some time and some effort, is it actually working, right? So can we see the benefits of it? And with AI, it's harder to measure. So I suspect that will change over time. There are some things we can measure now, but it's still a little fuzzy. So the metrics aren't that easy to capture visits and activity on a website now. So it's a little bit more brand awareness, where are you showing in AI? Are you there? Are you being cited? So, all of these things are a little bit trickier to measure, but, I think they'll hopefully become clearer over time, but who knows?
One of the guests who came on like 2 or 3 weeks ago said to me that she is no longer able to show year-on-year KPIs because AI search and the no-click internet has totally changed all the metrics. And so she said to me, she doesn't even know what she should be measuring anymore. Like, it's just so tough right now because you don't even know how you can be accountable for something that's so difficult to know. And I suppose that may be what you're sort of referring to when you're talking about measurements.
Yeah, I think maybe it's getting to be more like PR, where you're getting measured on kind of, how many times you're cited, right? So that is something you can count, you can track. With Findable and other tools, you can measure uh, how AI friendly you are. Have you implemented the things you can implement?
Mm,
And are you set up in the best way possible? I mean, in general, in the pharma space, you can't do everything that any SEO tool will recommend to you, because it's just not the same space.
mm,
But if you're set up in a way that's more AI friendly or SEO friendly than when you started, that is a measure that you can bring back to the client and say, hey, we're set up at the best we can for what we have. So this is where we are now. We've improved. These are additional things we might be able to do in the future that could help. And then you can work with your PR teams, with your marketing teams, to try to get more messages out there that'll resonate and support your AI visibility.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. So it almost seems like, would you say that you're at the center of the hub and then you have PR and marketers and everyone else sort of surrounding you, and you're sort of, there's a push and pull to try and align initiatives? Am I hearing that from you?
I wouldn't say center necessarily, but definitely part of the team. So I
Mm,
always try to get clients to buy into the idea that you need to think about SEO and AI upfront in all of your activities, because if you get a press release out there, you want to make sure you get your messaging in there the right way that'll kind of resonate and support your AI visibility. Whatever content gets pushed out there, it can be optimized, right? So it's really about thinking about that at the beginning, right? It's easier to incorporate it more seamlessly, as opposed to trying to add it on after the fact.
mhm. In terms of content, for SEO, for better or worse, at least there were keywords that you were aiming for, right? And through those keywords, you are becoming visible in terms of rankings. Um, what are the terms? I mean, are you even trying to sort of aim for terms in AI search? Like, what are some of the things that you're talking to your clients about?
Well, you're trying to become an authoritative source for topics. So it's a little bit broader than a specific keyword, but I think it's still got a similar basis, right? So you want to be thinking about what your audience would be asking, and if how you would become the source that would answer that. So, thinking about what questions your audience is going to put in AI. So, thinking about that, making sure you have good content that reflects the answers for those, and how authoritative you can make it. Do you have stats? Do you have data? Do you have third party sources that are going to corroborate all of that? So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little bit
It sounds,
different, but still
yeah.
similar.
Right. But it's all very similar and in line with where AI search is going, right? There's people are asking prompts and you need to create answers that's most citable. And that I see a commonality between, non-pharma and pharma. And for example, if somebody has type 2 diabetes, there may be, several questions that they have about that. And if you're representing a type 2 diabetes product, then you want, your information to be cited, correct?
Yeah, definitely. So you have to become an authoritative source.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to, similarly to the SEO space, you have to keep your clients kind of minds in the realm of reality. There are WebMDs out there. There are huge entities that have, more authority than a single pharma brand. So, you know, you're not necessarily going to be able to be the top quoted or cited response for every search, like a condition search. That might be more challenging, but for your brand, you should be, right? So, um, there are certain places you can win and certain places where you won't necessarily. So you have to win in the spots that you can.
So if a pharma brand, somebody representing a pharma brand is listening to this LinkedIn Live, what would be your recommendation about bringing in AI search? From your vantage point, for somebody who is an AI search practitioner, what would you tell a brand manager about how to successfully incorporate AI search?
Uh, so I guess they haven't done any before. So,
Yeah.
well, so the first step would be really understanding their goals, their brand, kind of determining what they want to be the resource for, what they need to show up for. So doing that research, that strategy up front, evaluating all of their assets, figuring out, what we can implement short term and what are kind of the quick fixes. Uh, there are a lot of technical fixes that wouldn't necessarily have to go through a legal approval. It's just about performance and coding structure of the website. So those things can be implemented typically more quickly. And then, things that are kind of short term fixes that would require some legal approval, but a little bit lighter of a load. It's not really a huge content shift. And then there's changes that you'd recommend for a full redesign or a overhaul of the website. So you schedule those for later. But I think, making sure you have that strategy, the client is on board with it, we kind of agree on what we can implement when implementing some measurement. We want to be able to measure what we can. So whether that's how well your site is optimized for AI, or how often you're cited, measuring the traffic, obviously, from organic and AI uh, sources. So all those are possibilities and things I would recommend. And then, you really have to get yourself embedded with the team. So coordinating with PR, making sure that whatever we can optimize is optimized as much as possible. So we're kind of all working towards a similar goal. Um,
Sounds great. Well, for those people who are listening, how can they reach you, Christa? So, you're the founder and CEO of Reach Media Studio. What's your email address?
It is Christa at reachmediastudio.com. So
Oh,
that's the CHRISTA at reachmediastudio.com. So that's probably the easiest way. You can go to the website and fill out a form there as well. But yeah, happy to hear from folks that would like to chat about pharma and GEO, SEO. That'd be great.
okay, Christa, thank you so much for your time. And, great conversation. Obviously, there are limitations to what you can and can't do, but I can see how you can sort of, have some impact. And I love that sort of roadmap that you shared with me. And I think that's a real great learning for, those brand managers that may be thinking about incorporating AI where they haven't. So thanks so much, Christa.
Thank you. I really appreciate you including me today.
Okay, then. Bye,
Have a
everyone.
good one. Bye.